Banks off that line, go again. Ready, up. On you. Ready, up.
Well, good morning. Welcome to day 2 of this International Rugby Sevens tournament here at St George's Park. The sun has graced us with its presence today, so hopefully it's going to help boost the rugby as well. We saw some terrific rugby on day 1 and sure to follow that up as teams progress now and evolve. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Rob Vickerman, former England Sevens captain. Rob, let's just look back on day 1. Any surprises for you? Let's start with the men's tournament.
Well, first and foremost, how brilliant was it to see players running around, enjoying themselves, big smiles on faces. For the men, very much about Team GB, their combinations and how they went. They were 2 from 2, so successful day for them. I suppose the surprise for me was the USA losing 2 from 2. So they'll be a bit disappointed with that, albeit it's a hit out, it's getting rid of that run rustiness, and clearly them having travelled more so than anyone else definitely had an effect.
And then you look at the women's tournament and it's France who have the 100% record, but my goodness me, they will push close.
Oh, so close. Every one of those games really was on a knife edge, and it's great that that competition can be there throughout the women's game as well. I think it's really strong competition, and today's action should back that up completely.
Yeah, and the first action today in the women's tournament happens to be GB against France. Now, yesterday, what was it, 26-24, I think we decided in the end, when we got the abacus sorted. But this one, do you see a difference on day 2? Will teams have learnt? Will teams have moved on in terms of what they want to achieve and what they can achieve?
I think day 2 is all about a bit of psychology, because physiologically you're in a bit of a dark place. You've been battered the day before. It's about how well you can get yourself up for those first couple of games. The sun makes a massive difference. If it were absolutely hammering it down, it'd be very different. I think GB, having had that hit out, come back into the sevens mode for many of their 15s players. I think they're going to up their game a little bit and be a better contest against the French this time around. around. The Ireland story is the one to really look out for here. Their story is amazing and where they've come from, on the cusp, potentially, of going to Monaco next month for Olympic qualification. It happened for Spain, for anyone that knows their sevens.
Oh, yeah.
For the Rio build-up, so I think it's really exciting.
Men and women, wasn't it?
Yeah, incredible atmosphere for that one. And I think, Ireland are looking to build towards that. Actually, USA taking them on is going to be really good to see how they come out second day.
Well, let's hear from the GB camp from head coach Tony Rock, after which we spoke to one of the referees this weekend, Richard Horton. But first, here's the GB man. Well, let's hear from the...
So Tony Roach's coach's hat on, day one down. What went well for you?
To be honest, it was just about getting the guys out there and getting them back into playing some rugby against different opposition. And it was just nice to see the boys out running around again. So that's the key thing, that was the major thing we were getting out of it, just looking at different combinations and seeing them. Obviously, we train together a lot and play against each other a lot, and it's good to see them against different opposition.
With so many combinations and clearly performance needing to count, 2 from 2 in terms of victories, but is it about that result, or are you looking for different things?
Yeah, let's look at both games. We probably could have lost both games. There was critical moments in those games where there's a scrum in the centre field. Ireland kicked it straight out on the full last play, and then that was a time USA we were 19-0 up, I think, and they scored 2 tries to 19-12, and then there was a key decision in the middle on Maddie on the ruck, which is, you can see it can go both ways, but I'm not sure. I feel it's quite a harsh call, and that that would have been an interesting one if they got back to that 19-0. So I think we're very realistic where we are, where we're at, and we know it's the challenge for the players, because they're not getting many shots to play, and you can't feel your way into this tournament. You get a game one day, you might get another game on day 3, so it's difficult for them. We appreciate that, but I think the key thing for us is just to look and understand that as coaches, appreciate what they're going through, and understand the type of game we want to play, and does that player suit us or not.
So what you're saying in terms of today, what are the outcomes, what you're expecting?
Just more of the same, really. Hopefully we've had some good chats around our attack, our launch plays, and hopefully see a bit more clarity in that, a bit more understanding in that. And we probably tried to overcomplicate slightly in our attack in the wet conditions. So again, could we simplify that, and can we just look for simpler options? And so we just came from a meeting just there where we actually creating opportunities, but we're passing. We should be running. Like, guys, you're good enough to just run. Let's just run. It's a running game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they adapt today, and see if we can make those adaptations that we spoke about in the meeting.
Quality. Rumours are we might even crack a smile from you today, so that'd be good.
It's my face is a bit sore actually, so I don't know if it will come out today, but you never know.
Cheers, coach. Go well.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Delighted to be joined by one of our refereeing quartet, Richard Horton. Dale, first up, congratulations on the Olympics appointment. How did you hear? When did you hear?
So because of the group's been cut down over the time, we've had an inkling that we're definitely in the mix. We then had, of course, a conversation with Paddy of where we're sitting in 2020, so a long time ago now. And then, of course, having the Olympics delayed meant that we had to reassess and have new conversations with a few injuries and a few retirements, both in the men's and the women's. So then we had another conversation with Paddy, who told us the good news.
Being one of the 22 match officials, you must be mighty proud.
Absolutely. You look at what's happening for me in the refereeing world over the last 7 years. It's a great place to be. It's a phenomenal group to be involved in, and I'm just really happy that I've had the opportunity.
If I could pull time out of the equation and give you the option of playing in the Olympics or refereeing in the Olympics, which one would you take?
I think playing in the Olympics would be, it's one of the ultimate events. Being a match official there is definitely going to be, the pinnacle of my refereeing career. Having played there, I think that would have definitely been the pinnacle of my rugby career. Having done what I've done playing, I still think, World Cups, Commonwealth Games is still up there with some of the top things I've been able to achieve.
We've just spoken to Tony Rock. It's a case of Saracens reunited. If you could think back, could you have ever imagined that you two would be doing now what you are doing?
No, I look back at that time, and it's so far away as well, which is quite nice. And
last century, mate.
Yeah, exactly. The enjoyment we've had playing both together, and when Rocky left Saris, but having the opportunity now to be here, definitely wouldn't have even contemplated it at that point.
Everybody's timeline is now kind of being established. Do you know what your timeline now is leading into Tokyo?
Yeah, so we've got Monaco coming up next month, which of course the final qualification for the Olympics. and then after that we'll literally be, head down, looking forward to the Olympics. Between now and then, I'm sure there'll be one or two sevens tournaments that might pop up that I have a run around in, just to keep match fit and also head in the game. But really looking forward to the countdown now.
And we talk about form and confidence with players. You feel you're in a good place now with the whistle in your mouth?
Absolutely. Had a massive break from Vancouver last year, and then had a little run out with the GB team a couple of weeks ago, and another run out with Jamaica, which was nice, to try and help them towards the Monaco. But my main focus, of course, has been for the Olympics this year, and just literally now, just counting down to it and looking forward to that high.
Well, congratulations on the appointment. Delighted to see you here for this weekend, and go well in the future.
Perfect. Thank you, Simon.
So Richard Horton in fine fettle there, maybe not physically, but good to see players that are transferring to the whistle now. Important for the empathy that they understand about the game, Rob.
Absolutely, I think that's right in what you say there, to get these guys with vast experience on the field to impart their wisdom and knowledge, and to be honest, keeping up with them, because Richard Horton, one of the fastest sevens players in past years gone by, he's still fast as a referee, and that makes such a difference. The commitment these referees put into the game is significant. They're out 45 minutes before warming up, so really is about their athleticism as well.
Yeah, Horton's go faster haircut probably helps that speed. Now, here's the first game. It's in the men's tournament. Ireland up against the USA. Jack Crowley starting for Ireland, one of the debutants. Kendallin as well. Jordan Conroy will be in there. Terry Kennedy, without doubt, their most influential player yesterday. So that's the starting seven from Anthony Eddy for the Irish. Let's take a look at the USA sevens that Mike Friday has picked for this one. Well, Madison Hughes back in the starting lineup, as is Carlin Isles. Welmers, Cavan Williams in there as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they mix and match that one, Rob.
It's going to be interesting. They've got that power on the bench as well. Know they can bring them on at any point, so interesting again to see these combinations and how they work, and that's what Mike Friday's looking for, these really skillful, athletic individual players to get those combinations in unison. Didn't see massive amount of Carlinals yesterday, informed that it is quite a narrow pitch, but hopefully him and space equals a good equation.
Yeah, Youssefa and Schroeder were their most influential players yesterday, and the power that they provided, particularly on second, third phase midfield plays, but they will be coming as impact players for this one. USA, of course, went 0 from 2 yesterday, so that will not have pleased the man commonly known as Giza. As you can see, a beautiful day. If you're just waking up in the US of A, a very good morning to you. I think it's about 5 a.m. Eastern time, so thank you for getting up. Hopefully you've got a strong coffee with you, or if not, a nightcap, depending on which way your day's working. But certainly the Eagles will be looking to provide an advance, should we say, on yesterday's form, and certainly, hopefully, on yesterday's results. Craig Evans is going to be the man on the whistle for this first one. Such good, experienced referees on this weekend. It's so important. Adam Jones, Sarah Cox, the other two that we haven't mentioned this morning. Just waiting to see. There seems to be a slight delay. Not sure whether it's on the referee's mic, perhaps, but there's Madison Hughes, back in the country of his birth, of course. But such an influential cog in the way that the USA works.
I'd love to hear what Madison Hughes is saying to these guys about the significance of the home of the FA, playing on the Gary Lineker pitch, and they'll be like, football? That's not football.
Yeah, football, soccer. Well, this is rugby sevens. This is day 2 of the International Rugby Sevens tournament here at St George's Park. Just looking to see. That's 7 aside. Craig Evans just having a chat.
So you're out warming up an hour before, and then you end up standing around for 2 minutes before kick-off. Luckily, these guys are used to it. The nature of sevens, the stop-start, See how they get on.
Jack Crowley, a man from Court Constitution, going to get, well, the starting berth at least at half-pack and see how he does. One of the 7 debutants in this Irish group this weekend. Hughes. And around the houses to try and get it back out on that right flank. The USA just trying to establish their patterns early doors. Later finding no way through there, and the penalty goes, and Crowley and Conroy go as quickly as they can. Kennedy. That little burst through the outside centre rock, and it's set over for Sean Cribbin to get his first try of the weekend. I was just looking to see Kennedy has that capacity just to take that outside break and set up his wing, as we saw it a couple of times yesterday, and here we see it once again today.
Even with the stutter, he manages to get on the outside, so deceptive. And after his debut season on the HSBC World 7 Series, people still cannot stop it. The ball in 2 hands, hits the outside arc. He always gets on the outside of that inside defender, which means the winger has to make a decision, and enough time there for Cribbin to get over. Unfortunately not converted by Dardis, but this is a great start from the Irish. USA equally probably frustrated with that defence. Madison Hughes looking on in dismay as the try is scored. But a good start from the Irish. Very little possession in the first opening couple of minutes, but capitalised brilliantly.
Cribbin the scorer, Kennedy the architect. Taken out in the air is going to give the penalty to the Eagles. Trying to work their way through. Good strong work from Maceo Brown. Hilter feeds outside, takes the ball back. Delay is there for Williams. Williams just sliding to a halt there. USA getting into enemy territory for the first time in this match. Laid back. Now moved out. Isles the man. Isles for the corner. What a finish from Carlin Isles.
Oh, the flag is up.
Ooh, that will be contested. It was right in front of our truck here. I thought he'd done enough, but he hasn't, and it's the breakaway from Cribbin to try and get Ireland away from danger. Kennedy throws out wide to Fitzpatrick. Conroy takes a little pop. Conroy against Isles. Conroy hands off. And Conroy says, remember my number, because you ain't going to remember my face. He's gone for another try.
Oh, what a turnaround. Both of them, including Carlin Isles, but this is going to be clipped up and put all over. The hype between Conroy and Isles as 2 of the fastest guys on the HSBC World 7 Series. Conroy got the title of top try scorer, and this is why, but this is a one-on-one. Everybody wants to see this. This is racehorse on racehorse. Both of these guys clocking, and look at the fend in the face of Isles. Get off me, point proven. Conroy could not have had a better year, and he is continuing this remarkable career. What an effort.
Well, it must irk Isles that Conroy appeared on the Sevens circuit and scored more tries than anybody else last season. Now,
you got to see, Isles can't be happy with that, because he was in the air. The way the tackle threw him, there's no chance his feet were on the floor.
yeah, I must admit, it happened right in front of us, and I thought that was good for a 5-pointer. It didn't happen, though. So it's Ireland who pick up more points and keep the pressure on the USA. No TMOs, of course, involved in the production of this tournament, so you have to go on the instinct of the touch official, and there's Kennedy. Kennedy's taking the outside arc and taking another 5-pointer. It's raining points for Ireland.
And that is individually so impressive from Kennedy. What a sublime angle that he takes on this. The pass across the face of him. After we see a little bit of the Isles issue in the corner, but Kennedy is not hanging around. Such a wonderful try for Terry Kennedy. And that is it, the 2 steps he takes to get on the outside. There is no chance of Tupuola stopping him. That is Terry Kennedy defined.
Well, we're in the 3rd game, and Kennedy has now scored in each game for his team. That's just part of his importance in the way that Ireland are playing. Just that fade outside, allowing the ball to travel the extra half metre, took the defender out of the equation. And look at that scoreline, 90 seconds left, 19 points to 0, Ireland are up. And they take it as well. It's all going one way at the moment in this first half. Cribbin brought down just by Brown, but the ball's still there for the Irish. Contested at the breakdown, penalty goes to the USA. They need something now before the turnaround.
They finally get the ball. USA seem to have been under the pump. 3 tries gone against them. And it's relentless. You've got to think the X factor that USA possess in this tournament is that physical size. They dominate every single team. Often they play on the whole series, but especially here against the Irish and the GB team. So Mike Friday needs to get the messages on. Yes, we're looking for combinations and play and interplay, but just use your physicality. Liuta, you're a monster. Just carry it.
They're working their way very slowly up towards this line out. Ireland buzzing, as you would expect with that scoreline. Work to the front. Kevin Williams up into the midfield. Isles hanging wide. Isles against Conroy. Oh, Conroy comes back, and that's 2-0 to Conroy.
And that's where you've got to mention about the pitch size. Usually with a couple more metres on the pitch width, these passes don't give the ball to Isles with limited space. They find him in acres, but that's still brilliant defence. Conroy is on his game, and you have to be. It's Carlin Isles is the fastest man in world rugby.
Half-time gong has gone as Mullin sets up, holding on for too long. And there's going to be a yellow card here for Ireland, just interfering with that retake. Just looking to see, I think it's Alex Kendallin who's going to get an early half-time as USA try and make something happen before the break. But going off their feet at the breakdown, Isles, the man having the finger pointed at, and he is not happy.
No, frustrated, you can tell. Not happening in attack for him, not happening clearly in defence for him either. Isles needs to get his head back in the game. But it was a real feature yesterday. You saw the referees, they were hot on it. They want to see that competition over the ball. And whenever you see that referee's hand pointing down to the floor and a dip in motion, it means that they haven't supported their body weight. So the thing they're trying to do is make it a contest.
So Crowley kicks off and the whistle goes for a half that Ireland thoroughly enjoyed, and conversely the USA will not have got anything from. It all has been pretty much one-way flow through that first 7 minutes. 19 points to 0 reveals that fairly emphatic start. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of that first 7.
Well, not going to be short of them, and they'll be all pretty much with green shirts on. This is Terry Kennedy. What a half of rugby he's had. The in, the out, even with the stutter, so difficult to defend. The ball in 2 hands. Hughes is left as the wing defender, and Cribbin gets the glide in. And if that weren't enough, his PIC, Conroy gives it a go straight after it. The stop, the start. It's honestly one of the best ways to attack people. You run straight, the ball in 2 hands. I keep saying it as a coaching point, but you just don't know what they're going to do as a defender.
You can call it a stutter step because it does look like he's lost his balance at one point, but he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. And the big guys in the middle finally carrying for the USA. A few slips happening on this field. We mentioned it yesterday, a little bit of rain coming down early morning. And this is the controversial moment. Carlin Isles, for all money, thinks he's finishing in. Because he gets thrown in the air, I can't see how his feet are on the ground. But the assistant referee very quick to point that. But no hanging around. Here we go. This is what the world wants to see. Conroy against Isles. You could put 50,000 people around this pitch and you'd get a hell of a noise for that one. Not going to be good viewing for Isles as he gets fended to the point he somersaults. But Conroy, he's some player, isn't he?
Yeah. I almost called him Terry Conroy. You won't remember, being a footballer, former Stoke City midfielder, and that's right here. But here's the Kennedy.
Only one Terry for me, Wardy.
Yeah.
And there he is, outside line. Is the perfect outside centre. Anyone watching 15s, that is how you run a line. He started square and faded as the ball was being passed. It is undefendable. These are good defenders, and Kennedy and Conroy are leaving some impression on this game.
So Cribbin, Conroy and Kennedy, the scorers for Ireland. USA with it all to do now in this second half. Williams feeds out to Neymar Fualo. It's Malachi Esdale into the mix now for this second quarter. Again, a little slip there, this time from Joe Schroeder. Schroeder striding out, taking his team up towards the Irish 22. The call comes from Leuta. The feed is on. Massio Brown just being pulled up short there, and I think losing the ball in the contact and losing that momentum that they built.
Well, we referenced it in the first half. I think it's worth saying again. These pitch, for anyone that watches sevens, the dimensions of Las Vegas. And traditionally in Las Vegas, you see much more direct running because these passes, when they add up, there's just not as much room. And what it also does is let the defence slide across. Ireland very comfortable with these big men for the USA with the ball in the wide channels because they know there won't just be one defender, but 2 or 3, so it's very disruptive.
Ireland still with Alex Kendall in the sin bin at the moment. So USA looking to see whether he'd maybe come back on too quickly. Kendall just watching from the sidelines, literally. Craig sorting it out.
3 on 2 in the back, so Ireland got to be looking to try and kick long and give Conroy a chance.
Well, again, the USA being pinged at the breakdown. They're going to have to work this out. It's been a recurring theme for them this weekend.
It has been. There's a few themes, actually. Tactically, not quite on it, the USA. For any fans watching on, it is still experimental at this stage. Mike Friday's so well versed with sevens. He knows what he wants to be seeing and challenging in different ways. And he'll take it on the chin if performances don't quite happen. But bit of a let-up again for the Irish, and with the clock now running down again, just 10 seconds left until they're back to the full complement. It's clever play.
Well, they're back to 7 now.
Get to see Sexton in the centre now. Hopefully we'll get to see him run because he is a low 10 seconds runner for the 100.
So Billy Dardis on as well. Kennedy taking that outside line again. Oh, that's beautiful running. Aaron Sexton, impact player off the bench. And there is the style and the pizzazz from Ireland's number 11.
I love to see it. When you call it and want it, and it happens. Sexton brought in, played in Chester, the Invitational Sevens, a couple of years ago as a young upstart because they knew he was the Irish school sprint champion. Put him in a rugby context, that's always going to be a good combination. And just like Kennedy, hit that outside line perfectly. And it does help if you're rapid.
Well, Ulster have seen what he's about already. They've given him his debut in the Pro 14. But on the
Perfect
sevens
setup.
pitch, look at that.
On the outside, that's Martin Asefo that has just been rinsed. World Cup winger Asefo was out in Japan. Did not get one finger on him. Again, the outside line, the 2 steps he takes before, and then too much to handle.
Well, it's all Ireland's match at the moment, and here they come again. Try time once again, and guess who it is? You guessed it, that man Kennedy.
Good combination of Sexton and Kennedy, both guys doing the same thing from the set piece, but in open play. So dangerous to have these types of runners, and this is why Ireland are really making a statement in global sevens rugby, not just here at the Rebel International Sevens. They're going to go to Monaco, right up there. with the favourites.
Well, there's hands on hips in the USA team and just not quite sure what's going on or how they correct things right now. Here's the setup to that try. Dardis on, feeding out, and Sexton this time the provider.
It's such a threat though, isn't he? Schroeder has to wait for him because at any point he could decide to straighten up and then he's gone. But conversely, a bit more biting in from the defence and the space was out wide. Kennedy is tearing up.
Look at that scoreboard. Yes, the results don't mean everything for coaches this weekend, we know that. But after yesterday's display and not managing to get anything on the board, Black Friday will have wanted more. Cavan Williams desperately trying to break the bagel. It's there, it's quick ball. Schroeder moves it out. One man on, and there's a run in. And at last, the USA get on the board. Thanks to Malachi Esdale's third try of the weekend.
Esdale, as we saw yesterday, threatening with ball in hand, crossover athlete, but he's got everything you need in a sevens capacity. Wonderful skill. Terry Kennedy, fair play. I thought for all money, Cavan was through as he looked at the line, wanted to put it down, recycled it because the Irish had committed so many to that breakdown. It was a case of just two big passes in the middle to get it wide. And as I say, Esdale, he's going to eat that up all day. Ball eventually gets there. He can go out, he can step it in, and there's not a lot a Postlethwaite could do to stop him.
Working towards the final minute of this match. The outcome is already decided on the scoreboard, but there can be some mini ticks in boxes available to those players right now. It's the perfect footing, it has to be said now, with no dampness in the air. Williams straightens things up, gets the offload to Schroeder. Looking outside, Esdale trying to hold his width, but the line from Leuta not really helping the winger on that occasion. Hughes to Wheeler. Yusefo. Good leg drive from Yusefo, taking two tacklers with him. Penalty call is there for the USA. What must be now on the last play of this match. Cut back in from Froalo. Feedback, I think is that Wheeler coming in? Quick take from Madison Hughes. It's another 7-pointer for the USA, but it's not going to change the outcome of this one.
No, it looks a bit better though, doesn't it, finishing as they have. And Asefo, as you'd imagine, the man to get a bit riled by the fact they've been bullied, and he takes 5 people on the left-hand side to try and stop him as they engage in that contact, and then very much the same in the middle again.
Full-time hooter goes, and Fualo kicks the last play. Picked up by Dardis, and Dardis says, we'll take that, thank you very much. Ireland, well, they beat the USA yesterday. They've done it again today with a pretty emphatic performance, it has to be said, as revealed really by that scoreline.
Well, if anybody is watching from Ireland, know this. These men you're witnessing here could well be Olympians this year. That is how good they are at sevens. I really hope that they get a lot of support in how they play, because as a team, it's an incredible story. The doldrums of European League 2 4.5, 5 years ago, and they keep climbing and climbing. I do wonder how many steps this ladder has, because they are fantastic.
Well, if I say sky's the limit, I don't mean to sound trivial, but some of the cutting prowess that they have, particularly in the backs, I haven't really seen the forwards, but you look at Sexton, the way he found that parabola to find the way through there was just brilliant.
Parabola, Wardy?
I know.
Wow.
I swallowed a dictionary last night, sorry.
Look at that. Well, I'll tell you what, not quite sure what that means, but I know this is a fantastic line in rugby. That outside arc, Kennedy did it 3 or 4 times in that first bit. You got Conroy on the outside. Sexton, Kennedy, Conroy are killing this tournament. And the USA, who have won HSBC World 7 Series tournaments consistently, they've just been absolutely destroyed by this Irish team. And that's a really, really impressive thing to be able to say.
I know there's another game to go in between in this men's tournament, but you're licking the lips at the prospect of GB Ireland at 1 o'clock. 4 o'clock, I should say. It's going to be fascinating to see, and Anthony Eddy must be absolutely delighted with the way that they've gone this weekend. Got so much ahead of them, of course, with that repechage event in Monaco. Different type of challenge when you've got Samoa, Tonga, Mexico and Zimbabwe in your group. And that's where I wonder, and we haven't seen it, it's not to say they haven't got it, but whether the forwards are up to that physical challenge, which no doubt, particularly the South Sea Islanders will bring to their game. So, moving on, we're into the women's competition. Now, this one was an absolute, well, you couldn't take your eyes off it yesterday. Great Britain up against France. Be fascinating to see how they've recovered from yesterday and how they play. You look at there, Heather Fisher back in the mix. Deborah Fleming starts this one. Helena Rowland. Interesting to see how the mix goes. Abby Brown was in startling form yesterday. Up against them, well, a French team with a fair few mixes in their group as well. Shannon Izar still there. Carla Neeson had an outstanding game. Sia Farley starting her 3rd straight start.
And she was looking fantastic, almost a one-woman show yesterday, and how Sia Farley grabbed it. Alongside her, Serafina Kemba, also very impressive, played for Saracens in the Women's League, so she'll be used to these types of environments.
Sarah Cox going to be in charge of this one. So here we go for the first game on day 2 in the women's competition.
She's not forward.
Holly Aitchison,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
former Saracens teammate, of course, of Akemba at one point. Now, in opposition, Fisher comes on that bullocking line, just trying to catch the weaker shoulder inside. Hannah Jones had a really good Six Nations despite Wales' predicaments. She really showed well in the centres. She'll be pinged at the breakdown. France not going from the right position. Fanny Orta, been there, seen it, done it, got most of the T-shirts.
She has, but it's Heather Fisher already in this game. What intent. Rumours are she stays in a cage when she's at the Hilton. They just let her out and rips it up. She's fantastic, isn't
That's not fair.
She's a tiger.
She does have that appetite, it has to be said. It never fails to amaze. The sprint through from Coralie Bertrand. And it's France who get on the board first. Well, suddenly opening up that GB defence. And the flyer from Chile Mazarin showing that you've got to keep your eyes peeled.
We've said before about the threats this French team possess. Not often in the middle of the pitch, actually more so out wide. Perhaps the GB defence spread because of that threat, and all too easy in the middle. Bertrand with the wheels.
So, France get the first score. Abby Brown sets up possession for GB. Jones in as first receiver. Fisher trying to pull the defenders on, and then the release for Jazz Joyce. How did she work her way through that? Running the elusive eel line. Aitchison, Brown, Deborah Fleming with her first chance to test Bertrand's defence. Bertrand with a little bit of help from her friends. Penalty once again going to GB. Emma Jones trying to up the ante a bit. Fleming. Roland, GB looking at width until Holly Aitchison stretches through. Roland up in support. Needs some help from outside. Jazz Joyce. Joyce against Siafani. Beats one, beats two, takes five. Jazz Joyce over the line.
Oh, she went really well yesterday, didn't she, Jazz Joyce? Come out in similar ilk today. Two of the powerhouses for the French team, Akemba and Siafani, both getting beaten by the diminutive Welshwoman. She is a thing to behold when she gets going, isn't she? Really good composure. Roland manages to get that ball across. And then it's just one-on-one. Jumps through it.
Well, Jazz Joyce said on her interview that if she came back into the world, she would like to be a bird. Well, I don't know what bird goes that fast, to be honest, because she just flies every time she gets the ball. Doesn't matter on the defenders in front of her. 7 points apiece.
Look. Just taking the straps off. Yeah, no worries.
Change your foot. Now they're just checking the call. Roland with good height on the restart. Abby Brown flying through there, but it's France trying to make something of it. Kemba just stumbling as she tried to get the engine going. Good little offload. Fisher trying to get back, does very well there. Oh yeah, that was Chloe Pell. Looking to see, yeah, there's a yellow card here and it's going to go to Deborah Fleming.
Nope.
So GB go 2 minutes down.
Yeah. There.
France inevitably trying to get the width on it, but Siafani just not concentrating there. That was a gimme in terms of pass, and the winger who's been in such rapid form just wasn't on it there.
Well, she was white hot yesterday. Barely even smouldering today, Wardy. Just couldn't quite get it in the hand. The size of her compared to Jazz Joyce. She was brilliant open field running yesterday. And that's what sometimes you can get in day two. She went so well, did so much running and contact. Just not feeling as fresh today. But it's the same for everyone.
Inevitably, there will be bumps and bruises that are feeling a little bit tough at the moment. Looks like Helen Nelson's going to get an early run. As hooker coming on into that forward phalanx, presumably instead of Deborah Fleming on that sin bin.
Right, you got to get it in a bit quicker. You guys have got to be stable. Just wait for the ball.
It's an interesting call, actually, and this is something I don't know. In the 15s, obviously, if there's a front row forward that has to go off, you replace with the front row forward. Does it apply in the 7s?
No, you can have versatile players. You get a lot of people who scrimmage. It's not an 8-man scrum either, so you need to be cautious of that.
No. But I just wondered why they brought Nelson on at that point. There she is. Brown steps in to feed Aitchison. And plays secure ball for a while they're down a player. Well, Hannah Jones has to stay hard and fast there in the face of two French tacklers, and in the end conceding the penalty.
It's really good defence from the French. You can see they're not competing as much at the breakdown until they've got that line speed. Then when the tackle's made with GB stood still and the rest of the supporting players in front of them, that's when they target it. It's really, really good defensive play.
Looking at that outside, and There's a beautiful arcing run. What a tackle, though, coming in from Jazz Joyce. She can score tries, she can stop them as well, and she gets the penalty. Well, the Welsh winger doing everything that was required there from her team.
Well, she's almost on the plane, the way she's going. Her form is spectacular. We've seen what she can do ball in hand. That, for me, isn't the judge of players. It's the commitment and effort when you're defending. And that was fantastic. Not only the chop tackle to get her down, but then straight back on the feet and competing for it.
Well, Siafani appearing on the left wing and looked for all money like she was going to get her 4th try of the weekend. But Jazz Joyce had other ideas. So GB back to full strength. Nelson feeds out to Roland. Flatmates and Loughborough. France, though, taking possession. Fanny Orta having a look, trying to feed out to Siafani. Now she gets the ball. One outside if she wants, but at the moment, she's only got eyes for the line until she gets the feed. And the offload is there, and the try is there as well. I think that's Nasira Conde, who's come up in support. Well, that worked really well for France.
Just shows the threat of this French team. Their attacking skill set. The GB defenders are really committed. They're trying hard. They just can't stop it. It's a relentless wave. It's actually Kemba that managed to get it down.
It is. I beg pardon. It is.
What support play?
Kemba. So Akemba getting the points. Yelana Yengo with the chance of the extra 2. Just unable to hit the target from wide right. As the half-time whistle goes, it is a 1-try differential between these two.
Thank you very much.
GB having to go 2 minutes without Deborah Fleming, but finding the tries early on to give them a little bit of security on the scoreboard. But as we know from yesterday, anything could happen, and probably will. There's the breakthrough from Coralie Bertrand.
Oh, Helena won't like to see that one again. Tired at the breakdown. The French targeting that midfield channel. Doing very well with it. But she repents, gets that ball out to Jazz Joyce, and then that's what you love to see. Taking on players. You've got someone as exceptional as Jazz Joyce. Just get her the ball, get a bit of freedom and space. You just don't get to see it that much in 15s, but in 7s, she comes alive.
France were getting a little bit frustrated with the way that the ball just wasn't quite sticking. You see it with Siafani there. And then look for all money that they were going to get through there. But what a tackle from Jazz Joyce.
Oh, she flew into it. Like a superhero. And then straight back over it, not hanging around. And this is where the French can really hurt you. Great support play, offload with that ball being freed.
And taking the lead back again with that try from Akemba right at the end of the first half. Just 5 points difference, and well, like I say, we saw it yesterday. There's not much between these two sides, and so it's proved once again. Some changes within the GB ranks. See Hannah Smith, the Scotland vet, on as into the backs in the midfield. Again, Abby Brown the target. Smith can't take a secure ball first up, and
Just on the floor.
well,
Just on the
GB Maybe a little fortunate in picking up that one.
Yeah, they are astute at the line-out there. If you've got James Rodwell coaching your line-out, you know you're going to be pretty good at that. But the back play just a little bit too static. Oh, it's just fantastic to see, isn't it, these shots? Live rugby, England Rugby, YouTube watchers. Numbers are creeping up, which is always good. Loads of comments coming through. I want to see where you're watching this from, supporting this great game.
Okay, we're not going to play around with this all day. Right, we've had 2 at every set.
Chloe Pell
Out, please.
just making sure that the engagement with Deborah Fleming was to her satisfaction. Sarah Cox going to be the arbiter there.
Minds. Set.
Call goes for GB. Richardson. Rowland has to take the contact. Presentation is slow, and indeed France get the penalty. Good defensive work. David Cortex will be very pleased with the way that that's worked out. The big fend coming in from Akemba. And the breakaway from Yengo. Yolana Yengo gets her first try of the weekend.
And it's on the back of that good defence again from the French. Their transition, so they're going from defence to attack, is just brilliant.
If you can't maintain that,
and they've got so many threats across the board. We saw from the men's game with Ireland playing previously. If you've got pace, you're in the middle of the pitch, and there's broken field in front of you, it's going to be one outcome. You're going to end up under the sticks.
Well, once again, France finding the way through the GB defence. Changes from France now.
And even with Fisher's efforts at the tackle, because the attackers are upright, support play, which is at the moment France's best weapon. Too difficult to stop.
Hey, come on.
So the try scorer with the restart, they're just hooking that one. Looking to see how GB are now setting up. Fisher and Smith.
You must be
Midfield link with Helena Rowland.
Must be
going to take the scrum put in.
Love to see a midfield scrum here, Wardy. There's 6 players in the middle, 2 feeding the ball in, so it's an out-and-out 3-on-3 with the backs.
See Jazz Joyce just hanging behind Helena Rowland, so not dictating whether they're going to go right or left from this. Left it is. Joyce, the little shuffle step, turns on the burners, and nobody will catch Jazz Joyce flying over for try number 2.
Well, that's exceptional, even with the heat coming from the scrum. And the French really did try and combat that at source by pushing off GB, but Jazz Joyce, she's like Mighty Mouse, isn't she? The stutter step here in the middle, the bounce to the inside. Because there was such a push at the scrum, the forwards can't break as quickly. And it's really clever play because she knows there's going to be a gap there. And just look at the effort she puts in. Jazz Joyce leading this GB team.
Well, in her interview on the website, she described herself as bubbly, friendly and funny. She could add a very potent rugby player. Look at that break. So, GB respond to that Yengo try. How will France respond to the Joyce? Well, Abby Brown thought she'd got a rip there.
She's on the floor.
Still plenty of time left in the game.
Neeson decides to dab it through. There's a quick turnaround. Who's going to react first? It's Coralie Bertrand. It's a foot race. Kwanzaa against Bertrand. Who's going to get there? It's not. It's the follow-up. Or is it? Or is it? Oh. I think we need CSI St George's on that one. Try's been given.
Very quick to give that. Wow, that looked like it was a bit of a scramble on the line.
Deliberately
Wasn't
playing the
clear
ball
and
on the
obvious
floor.
that the ball was down. Sarah Cox
Deliberately playing the ball on the floor.
giving it for the French. Wonderful angles coming in. This is where Kwanzaa's just got out and out raw speed. She gets back in the race, but because of this little bounce to the left, it does everyone.
It's Drouin who's up there, but
I'm not sure that's down.
Kwanzaa thought she got her arm underneath it. Sarah Cox, credit to her, was in good position. And the points are on the board.
Well, at least it was a quick call. We'll give her that. Not sure it was the right one.
As they say, read it in the papers tomorrow. Well, nobody does read it in the papers anymore, but it'll be on the website soon enough.
Well, there's a glimpse of hope here with that error at the restart. Everybody talks about how important restarts are in sevens. To kick the ball out of the full means it's going to be a scrum back, a penalty back, sorry, in the middle of the pitch. So this free kick here, chance for split field play with GB looking sharp.
90 seconds left. And GB needing 2 scores now. Little bust round the corner. But it's going to come back France's way. And France will look to break from their own 22. Back in is stunted for now, but France lining up wide right. Neeson looking for the pass, but just falls short. They're going to get the penalty call, and advantage for offside already been granted.
I don't know why they're taking it quickly.
No bonus points on offer for this one. Not that they need it. They've already got tries in the bank. Good tackle coming in from Brown. Jacquet unable to pick up the rebound.
So all eyes on the clock now. GB need to score before the clock's 0 and then go again.
The clock working against GB at the moment, but they need to get up the other end and fast. Kwanzaa against Shannon Izar. Offload is there, but that's good D. Really good coverage from the French team. Working together to get in the right place at the right time and get the ball. Jacquet. And that's it. Well, it was as competitive as it was yesterday. France have got 26 points on the board as they got yesterday. But GB not managing to do enough to dent that scoreboard to get themselves back near their opposition this time round. Another cracking game. 12-26. France maintained their 100% unbeaten record in this tournament. Impressive work from David Cortek's group.
Yeah, it is, and they're playing to their strengths. They've got these attacking weapons we keep speaking about. Serafina Kemba and Cecile Siafani specifically. Marshall brilliant in the middle by Fanny Horton, but they're just too powerful. We can see in these types of shots, if it's a half tackle or not quite fully completed, their support play is one of their best features. And it's just relentless wave. You cannot keep committing defenders if they're running in a similar line as what they are here. So it's really good. And again, as we say, these tournaments, different needs for the different teams. And the French women building up huge qualifier for them out in Monaco next month. And as you say, having witnessed their game so far, looking really strong.
This is the rains begin to drop on St George's Park. It has been a fascinating encounter between these two, both days that we've had here so far. Be interested to see what Scott Forrest has made of these opening encounters. We'll hopefully have a chat with him later. We'll certainly be having a chat with David Cortex, because he must be delighted with the way that his group have put their plays together. This is the somewhat controversial final score from Drouin. Right. Apparently, I'm being told it was a penalty try, because The GB player tried to play the ball on the ground. Let's just take a look at this, Rob. What's your call on this then?
Well, Sarah Cox couldn't be in a better position.
Yep.
And if she's deemed that it was being played on the floor, then absolutely right.
Well, good work from the officials. As ever, that's how the table has ended so far after this first chapter on day 2. With that perfect 3 from 3 for the French. Just the one victory for Great Britain and Ireland still to get points on the board, but they are up next. And we look forward to you rejoining us at 1 o'clock for GB USA in the men's comp. And then Ireland will be playing France in this one. So go and get your coffee, go and have your break, and we look forward to seeing you back here for 1 o'clock.